Hey, Bobby. Hey, pleasure to meet you, mate. Pleasure to meet you.
Meet you as well.
Yeah, so,
So
um, fuck, we would leave off.
we're talking about the Marshals and how it's like basically an investigative joint versus a patrolling and policing joint.
Yeah. So,
Um, Go
with
ahead, go
with
ahead.
them, right, so at the moment, there's what, yourself, there's the director
So there's
well, not a director, but he's the current, interim director, Gunner,
yes,
and then Brian's most likely going to look at probably being director soon, right? That's what you're telling me. Which I'm all for
yeah,
Brian. I
he's
reckon Brian will make a good. I reckon he'll make a good director. I'm not gonna lie. Quite interesting.
yeah. So the issue with so basically the Marshals has always been a independent authoritative party that serves the interests of the state, right? We are not here to police. We are not here to enforce laws. Our job is oversight. And a lot of the people's concern is the people that are seeing them, they don't know anything about them. Like a lot of the people that are recently hired into the marshals, to most people, are new faces, right? Unfamiliar.
Mm.
There's no like work relationships with people in LSPD and BCSO, at least for some of them. And then for others, they're just now developing these relationships. So you get to the point, right, where you have these people who don't really know the people in these authoritative roles and they're commanding them around, right? They're serving this oversight. And whether or not that oversight is justified to somebody that doesn't know who their quote unquote boss is or manager is, right? It's kind of like, why is that person in that role? There's just like suspicion and interrogation. Um, and what happens in a political setting is that it's retaliation through various things, whether it's
Mm.
there's a shootout of some sorts, we respond to the shootout, and they basically just dismiss us because they think marshals are I don't think inferior is the right word, but incapable as law enforcement officers. And bear in mind, being a marshal, part of the prerequisite is that you're an elite law enforcement officer. So you are capable of responding to almost any type of situation. But you can't keep up that expertise, that eliteness, if you're dismissed in your attempts to assist, you know? And that's part of the problem, is that there is no repertoire between us and the departments. And that could be because it's election season. I want people to keep them to themselves. They're supporting their nominees and their parties. But I think underlying that is they want the marshals to be more social and interconnected with
Yeah.
law enforcement. But our job inherently isn't law enforcement. It's protecting the state, right?
Yeah.
Petty crimes such as theft or robbing a place or holding up somebody as hostage, sure, they're important within the scope of law enforcement, but we're dealing with things that go from terrorism to like embezzlement, fraud, like bigger deals that affect
Mm.
absolutely everybody. But a lot of people,
Things
they
like
don't know about what we're working on.
yeah, like things like those fucking fire starters, faceless, fucking darkstone,
And
all that
all
sort of
that
stuff.
shit.
Yeah.
And the issue is, right, we could, we could go to other authorities, the EMS, the PD, and we could spill all the information, right? We could be like, hey, so here's the TLDR, here are things to be made aware of. But knowing all these groups and knowing all the relationships that these people have, information's bound to spread, right?
Mm. There's Look, I think you've got a good head on your shoulders. Do the rest of the marshals share the same opinion and I guess view on the whole situation, or?
Yeah, so the marshals are all basically in agreement.
Yeah.
I think that everybody that's a marshal at the moment has a good head on their shoulders and is completely capable in the position that they're in. I think that there's outsiders that think that they aren't capable because one, they don't know them, right? That's always a contributing factor. Say I don't know you, but somebody says you're good at something, I'm always going to have my doubts until I see it.
Yeah.
And even when I see it, I'm still going to have my doubts because I don't know you. So that's the first problem. We don't really know. Second
Mm.
off, everybody's got their own, how would I say it? Very
Things in the closet.
flamboyant issues. Yeah, flamboyant issues.
Mm.
And what I mean by flamboyant issues is, for example, when I talk to an individual, you probably thought I was a filthy criminal or some stoner off the street smoking too much weed.
100%.
Or,
When you said you were a marshal, I was like, wow, okay.
yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
that's all. See, that's how I'm able to connect with people like you. I just had a 15-minute conversation where I was yelling in your ear the entire time. Usually you'd hang up on a fucker. But that's like besides the point. You got to be able to have conversations with people in the community, especially given that, my forte is undercover. You know,
Mm.
I'm all about gathering intel, learning about people, and discovering what their true
Yeah,
intentions are.
this could be.
And if I'm friends with everybody, that helps. But
Yeah.
beyond that, what helps is like giving everybody a little bit of a different story, you know? Like telling people, hey, I'm from this joint, I'm doing this is my job, or,
Mm.
no, I'll never be a cop, just different ways to connect with different people depending upon who they are. For
Yeah.
example, if I'm talking to an individual from a motor club, which, I'm not sure if you have ties or interlinkage to a motor club, but
Nah,
at this
not a
point,
motor club.
that shit's in the fucking bin. But it's all about adapting how I speak and the topics I reinforce around people.
Yeah.
But um, where I was going with this? Oh yeah, different personalities.
Mm.
There's people that are stern hard asses, and there's people that are more sociable. Uh, I'd consider the marshals to be less sociable now because of the election climate, the
Yeah.
political climate. Um, and unfortunately, I think that there is no 100% great answer to the director position. I think each person likely has a strong suit if they were in that position, but I don't believe everybody's going to be an all rounder.
Who would you
Um,
like to see in the director's seat?
I have a biased opinion, given the fact that the current interim director and I have gone back many a year.
Mm.
So I'm going to say that answer out of bias. I also believe that he is a capable individual and he stands by his opinions no matter of the force that
Wasn't Gunner
comes at him.
actually not long ago? He was looking at possibly losing his job, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I mean, he could be possibly losing his job if he doesn't get. So basically, a lot of the people right now are against his approach and his mentality when it comes to the job. And so, odds are, if somebody else secures that position, he'll be, kicked to the
Right.
curb.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that'll be the case for the rest of us who are hired underneath his reign. I hope that isn't the case because we're all fairly capable individuals. I think the issue though is the people that are running for the position see the authority and the power in the position.
How many
They
people have
may
been
not.
hired under Gunner? Yourself and who else?
Uh, I don't know the exact number, but I'd say a majority of people that currently stand, which is about 10 of us, 11 of us, majority are from Gunner's decision.
Hmm.
But once again, I think the sweetness to the marshals at the moment is we all have our own like forte. We all contribute in our own ways, and I think if somebody like the likes of Brian Knight or V Gray were to be in our position, they'd focus more on overall effectivity. And when you focus on overall effectivity, what you lose out on is conversations like these. Random ass phone calls, undercover operations,
Mm.
the classifiedness of the job. Because I'll tell you what, nice thing about having a bunch of 10 nobodies who have experience hired into the marshals is that they ain't got many people to talk to about this shit. All they really got to do is focus on their damn job.
You
It's
can't
not
be
like
too much of a nobody. I mean, yeah, I mean, you Mick Gunner somehow, right?
yeah, well, the nobody is in reference to criminal like individuals. I think in my position with this job, it's best that you know I know more law enforcement officers than I do criminals. In time, it'll serve me well to know individuals on both sides of the line, both sides of the law. Uh, Basically, where I'm going with this, and I'm getting to a point here, I promise. Uh, I choose Gunnar Kane just because he is a tank when it comes to absorbing blows from very commanding individuals. And I feel like if you're in a position such as the director of the Marshals, who basically has full reign within the state, you shouldn't be easily swayed by other people's opinions. You should be steadfast in your ways and fully confident in what you do. Um, Unfortunately, I think there's a lot of people that would give in to suggestions from other people that they
So
value.
you reckon if Gunnar Kane was the director, that would solve the issues of, I guess, the PD sort of coming together as a little fucking boys club and pushing back on things so much?
I think that the issue that we're currently facing all stems from the fact that he's an interim director.
Mm. So if he
Right?
was the
He is
director, you think it would solve some of that shit?
100%
Because,
because the
because,
last
because that's what you said to me before, right? That you guys try to enforce what you need to enforce on the PD when they are out of line, but you get a lot of pushback because they band together like a little fucking boys club. And then you've just told me that Gunner has a strong head and he doesn't budge. And he's a bit of a tank when it comes to this shit. So that's telling me is if he was the director, he would be one that would fucking hold his ground and be like, no, it's not fucking today.
exactly. And the reason he can't be that tank right now, well, he still kind of is, but the reason he has to be careful about it and what he engages in is because there's two reasons, right? A
Well,
political climate
he's the interim,
yeah,
right? So he's trying to collect votes. So he can't really doesn't want to piss too many people
exactly.
off. And yeah, I
Exactly.
get it. Yeah.
There's also like people are asking him, if there's these problems, they pull the typical, why didn't you fix them now? Why didn't you
Mm.
fix them, a month ago? The typical, political presidency
Well,
type
he wasn't the
question,
fucking director a month ago, was he? All the interim.
Yeah, yeah. And in addition to that, like
Do you think it was?
he will have
Sorry, do you think it was the right decision to get rid of the previous director?
the previous director stepped down, if I'm correct.
Well, do you reckon it was good that they did step down?
I'm not sure of the state of the marshals before
Oh, you were there.
this,
That's right. You only for a month. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't make a accurate,
Mm.
um, but here's like another issue, right? That point about why didn't you just fix it isn't fair because he's going to have stronger authority and more support if he were the official long-term director, right? Because now you're
Mm.
stuck with the dude for multiple months, if not years, right? And that's a lot different than having somebody who's interim. You know, if the PD is just um, in disagreement with an individual who could easily be disposed of and is interim, then it's easier to be like, fuck you to that person because they might be gone
Mm.
soon. but it's going to be different if the individual is long term, right? You're going to be seeing this person on the daily and they're in charge of you. So,
And I suppose that
it's
issue, right? If Brian was to fucking get the seat, he would quite possibly. Because I mean, from what I know of Brian, he's quite strong-headed as well. However, he has come from the PD side, so he might also be persuaded, sort of do as they want. You know what I mean?
you know, 100, I had a conversation with Brian Knight, multiple conversations with Brian Knight. See, here's the issue with gauging anybody's intent with the Marshals is that it's all political right now. Like, unless you're like a true inside man who's best buds with the guys, you aren't going to know the true intentions. For Brian Knight, I think that he is not a despicable individual. So I think there's a fair shot that if he were the director, there could be direction. You know, I think he is not the worst case of the candidates. Clearly, I'd prefer Gunner because of history, and I think that
Who's the
he
worst case, you reckon?
could, you know, I think that if you're, I'm gonna lead up as to why I say this. If you're ever running for a political position, and I believe being the director of the Marshals is a political position, if you don't know how to properly communicate in front of people who are bound to be your inferiors, you know, and you call their current boss names, specifically a clown and other derogatory
Unprofessional, right?
language, it's unprofessional,
Yeah, straight off the
right?
bat. You know, it's not first
I
impressions, everything,
I
right?
I technically have authority over everybody in the police department, right? I could go up to the chief, I can go up to the sheriff, and I could tell him to drop down and give me 10 push-ups just because I want to. But am I? No, absolutely not, because I'm not a dickhead. I also know that there's a limit to the power that I possess. I should be using it for the greater good. A lot of people don't. And the issue is when you come up to me and so basically I called this person because they haven't tried at all to reach out to the Marshals about their candidacy, which is the first problem, right? At least Brian Knight attempted to communicate with us, you know, meet with us and tell us his visions. This person just didn't do any of that whatsoever.
Mm.
They're basically like, all right, name's on the docket, you know, hopefully I get it. No conversation, which is like weird, you know? Like typically you'd want to get close to the people you're about to be leading, you know?
Yeah.
And it gave me kind of the impression that he was looking for the job for power and that he'd dismiss anybody that stood in his way for power. And on top of that, when he met with me, he called my boss, who he, for all he knows, could just be a random person I met and got a job from. But on a deeper level, you know, if there's a little bit of political intelligence, he would have understood that I respect my superior, given my position. And they called
Mm.
him a clown, incompetent, and they call all of his work dog shit in front of my face. And then after doing so, not even provide any constructive criticism as to the future that he sees for it, and only just dismantle it and call it further shit. Like, clearly his priority is not straight. That's my opinion on it. If you're going to be leading a group of individuals as elite as we are, you got to be able to speak and hold your tongue in certain environments and tailor your responses to the people. And I felt as if he didn't. You know, I appreciate his honesty, but honesty doesn't go far in a political climate. So I
Mm.
personally think that Brian Knight's going to win. You know, I think he's going to win this thing. And I hope that when he does, he doesn't dismiss current individuals in the Marshals and he instead tries to form them, you know, reform them or, you know, build them up in his vision. Um, I think that if that individual who I just alluded to before, not Brian Knight, I'm not going to say his name because you'll likely figure out who it is eventually. If he were to be director, he'd likely just purge the department. It'd become a very yes sir, no sir, salute, walk on duty, walk out the door, walk in a damn straight line, file your paperwork. Very systematic, routine, almost robotic way of doing a job. And I like Gunner Kane and I like Brian Knight because I feel as if I could be myself around, you know?
Hmm.
And with certain individuals who are kind of job overall, it's hard to do that with people. Like for Gunner Kane, for instance, anybody on the street, it could be a homeless dude, could be a crack addict, could be a motor club member, could be a 1%er, could be I don't know, a terrorist. He is going to have a conversation with almost anybody. Whether or not it's hostile is dependent upon if the other person opens it up to hostility.
Yeah.
But he's generally approachable individual. And I'd say the same for Brian Knight. I cannot say the same for the other person who openly calls people, especially in a affiliated government entity, a clown.
Yeah.
Could you imagine him with arsenal of tanks, high-class weaponry, and other facilities if somebody calls him the wrong name? Somebody looks at him wrong?
Yeah, I get what you're saying with this. 100%.
So that's my problem with that individual, is that the unpredictability and the unprofessionalism can lead to greater, more drastic, honestly, like life-changing decisions for not only the people that are hired underneath you and employed, but also for yourself. Like making one wrong move as the marshals might lead to your death. Like we're interacting with, the people you mentioned, faceless terrorist organizations. Like they could literally ruin our life. That's why we got to be kind of, on the sides, unknown, investigating, keep things classified. Because the moment one of us opens our lips, and whether that be to, the chief or the sheriff, you never know who they know.
It is true. It is true.
Like our job is to investigate government corruption. And sure, it might feel like gatekeeping in some instances. We got reports that people don't know about. We got investigations people don't know about. But if we open the can of worms to the police department, regardless of who that we trust, we know for certain that people in the PD, if investigated and or interrogated harshly, would likely give up said information. And for all we know, there's this archivist organization, which you've likely seen on Twitter, releasing people's, private information. Next thing you know, right, these fuckers got video and audio footage of these conversations.
Well, I mean, just look at the fucking newspapers recently. There's been all sorts of shit all over that.
Exactly. So, we release any bit of information, whether it's spread within the PD, it's bound to be heard by somebody, right? And that's the problem. That's why we keep it tight and close to the chest. Clearly, I wish I could go up to people. I wish I could go up to people like you and be like, we got a damn real threat. I wish you could help with it. But it's something we gotta handle internally.
Yeah, hey, well, I mean, I understand that 100%. Hey, but maybe I could help with some of that. But hey, only time will tell, right?
For sure. I mean, I've gone on 2 undercover operations in the last 2 weeks, and both of them I've got ton of information. Ton of information. And unfortunately, I wish I could go up to people and be like, yo, I got, flex all this information I got, but the integrity of my job's on the line. In addition to that, the safety of individuals. I might ruin a damn case if I go up shouting at people through a damn megaphone as I was doing to you through a damn phone earlier. But you know, it's like I wish I could be that social butterfly and tell people about shit, but now I gotta be a strategic social butterfly, which
Yeah.
is honestly a more dangerous thing because you know people never know who I truly am, and then they'll form their opinions, and next thing you know, I get shot. Next thing you know, I get kidnapped. But for the most part, I know how to, you know, keep well close with people, which is something that law enforcement doesn't typically do well. Right? They get on people's bad sides. I try to listen to and favor everybody's opinion because, after all, somebody who's social and capable is ultimately the individual that survives very tight, very stressful situations. So I'm looking forward to the future. I hope that I'm still a marshal when that future comes, whether it be Brian Knight, Gunner Kane. Um, I just hope that if it is Brian Knight, that I maintain my job. You know, that's my number one priority. Maintaining for myself so that I can maintain for the citizens of Los Santos and provide them safety.
Look, I think you're gonna be fine. I tell you what. I think this has been a very good discussion. It's actually been a bit eye opener for me. And it's actually given me some good insight into how the department is at the moment. Because I've been a bit confused on how things are. It's actually been a bit of a discussion, especially in the male cabinets, about how the marshals are going as of recent, especially in the last few months. So I appreciate this chat. Um, yeah, I think we'll find we'll probably help each other out a lot in the future, for sure.
Yeah, I hope so, dude. You seem
'Cause I feel like me and you are on the same page here. As far as how shit should be, and I have this, yeah, I have a good understanding, and it is sort of somewhat what I imagined it to be like. I do get people's frustrations and what do they fucking do and all that, because look, I'm not gonna lie, I was sort of, I guess, in in a in a part one of them as well, but at the same time I did have in the back of my mind, I did understand that, well, they could be doing shit, but just not fucking want every man and their dog fucking knowing, because as we said, the ops find out, then the whole fucking thing's cut blowing. So I get
yeah,
it. I hear you. And if you need anything, be sure to yell out. Uh,
yeah, of course.
and I'm sure I can definitely lend a hand on a lot of things.
What
I'm sure
things?
you could probably help me out a lot too. I'm sure those things will
What
pop
type of
up in
things?
time. Yeah, all sorts. I mean, I've got connections. You sound like you've got a few connections.
Yeah, I'm pretty close with the clown.
Oh yeah, a grape seed.
Yeah, but clowns clowns don't know Marshall though.
Ah, right. It's like another alter ego sort of thing you got.
Yeah,
Oh, I
well,
get that. I get that. Well, hey, I mean,
I'm
I am on the cabinet for the North, so hey, that could maybe help you out. There we go. First thing right there. I could maybe help you out if you need some stuff up
shit,
grapeseed.
man. I yeah, I'm very capable of individual of mimicking. You know what mimicking is?
Yeah.
So I have a boss, which is something that nobody knows. Well, very limited people know this. I'm part of a group called the League of Shadows, and League of Shadows boss is Philip Dufossy, and he
Mm-mm.
goes
Yeah,
by
I've
Tombstone.
heard of the League of Shadows. Isn't that weren't they labeled like a terrorism organization?
Yeah, but they've been part of the vault. national treasonous crimes.
Mm.
Matter of fact, the League of Shadows um, is known for training people to become mimics, and these mimics are people that are designed to originally go into government organizations and undermine them. And they
Mm.
do this by acting as if they're an individual within the said organization. So, for example, an individual like myself, who I haven't, this hasn't happened to me in particular, but other people that I associate with in the past have been responsible for identifying and mimicking an individual that's a captain, sergeant, even, you know, highest rank within the military organization, and spreading false lies, rumors, planting
Mm.
misinformation that leads to the eventual, you know, implosion of whatever they're combating. Right? It's basically silent but deadly warfare. They don't know that they were there, but they reap the consequences and they suffer destruction as if they were there. Shooting them with rocket launchers and missiles and shit. But they just walk off scot free because everybody just believes it was normal business, and then shit
Mm.
just hit the fan. And for me in particular, you know,
This
I was
isn't in
dispatched to this.
regards. This is in regards to a drop off of a bit of arsenal for the PD a while ago, isn't
I will not say anything, but an individual like myself does have certain capabilities, and I can become people that I am not. And by become people I am not, I can study them, learn from them, their habits, their movements, their dialect, certain things they reference in conversation. And I follow this person. I understand how they dress, whether they handshake somebody after meeting them, whether or not they slightly raise their hand after a point is made. And I master all of that. And I'll tell you what, if I walk to you mimicking somebody else dressed like them, sounding entirely different, you'd have no damn idea.
Like imagine I walked up to you and I sound like this. I just had a nice old conversation about a good old cup of tea I had earlier this morning. Dressed up like a damn cowboy without a worry in the world. You ain't gonna have no damn clue. Or if you're a clown and you are suspicious of whether or not I am law enforcement, but I sound super psychotic, you'll have no damn idea. But it really all depends on the situation and the individual. But overall, I am what they call a all-rounder within the Marshals, and despite the League of Shadows treasonous affiliations with international countries, I am a effective asset to the Marshals because I can get information that they cannot get information
it? Mm.
on. And I like to keep it that way because as long as I'm saving the people Los Santos, and saving the people Los Santos could, to be honest, apply to you, could apply to the next person on the street. Like, we have no idea. We can get blown up fucking tomorrow. There's threats of
It's
war
true.
actually like everywhere in the world. And as much as I understand that there's like establishments, gangs, businesses, whatever that despise law enforcement, I really wish that they saw what the Marshals were doing for them, right? Like, the Marshals aren't the people that are going to calls to chase cars, to get into like shootouts, to, petty theft. We're investigating things that take millions of dollars away from people like you. Takes, $1,000 from the homeless person on the street. Takes military equipment from the people that can defend our country. And beyond that, like, you know, just government corruption in general, right? Like, there's probably plenty of corporations and gangs out there that could complain endlessly about how a situation was poorly managed, about how they felt as if the way individual acted was corrupt. If not for us, you know, they wouldn't get the outcome they want, right? There might be people out there that want more violent, more permanent resolutions to their problems. But for us, it's all about looking long term. And, I don't show up here wearing my damn vest and all this shit just to like flamboy that I'm a marshal. I do it to show that I am committed to something that is in service of the entire state of Los Santos and the entire state of San Andreas. Unfortunately, people might, preconceived notions that, oh, the marshals just are law enforcement. There's another cop a dog, another dude to take hostage. No, absolutely not. I'm serving everybody's best interest. I might die. I might die doing this. And shit, I could be dying this, doing it in support of like the worst people known to mankind. But I value people. I believe that the worst of the worst even deserve a chance at redemption. If they fail that chance and they throw it in the fucking trash, then so be it.
Hmm.
But at least they got it. I had my chance of redemption with the league. And here I am. Doing well. Voting well for the public. Talking to people like yourself. Random thugs on the street. Government entities. I mean, it's a beautiful world out there, and I hope people live to see the rest of it. But with the way things are tracking, it's kind of hard to believe that. And so I just wish people saw the Marshals as a group to believe it. Even in our inefficiencies, behind the scenes, we are truly trying to protect, serve, and fuck did like down the line. If there's war and I ain't fleeing. Going all fucking in, dude. Grabbing a fucking rifle, running to the edge of the goddamn island, grabbing a tank, shooting fuckers. Protecting this damn land. And I can't say that about most people. Because this place is my
100%.
damn home.
Well, Bobby, this is like I said, good conversation for sure. I can't promise anything, but I'll do my best to ensure that whatever happens with these, I guess this election, I guess you'd call it, works out for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I hope it works out because the entire state's safety is on the line. It's more than just having an individual in a position. Like, I believe that I'm a very intelligent individual. Whether or not I portray so outwardly is up to other people's interpretation. But in terms of my work and effectivity, I'd say it's through the chart in certain situations, especially now. I think that there are two individuals that could lead this place to prosperity, and that place being the state. And I think that there's an individual that can undermine all that we've working so hard to stop, investigate, and I really hope that it's people that are going to contribute long term to the safety. Whether or not I'm a part of the Marshals is up to them. But I know damn well of wherever I will be, whether it's now or in the future, that I am an effective individual and get the job done, whether it be on this side or the other side.
Beautiful. All right. Sounds good.